We're live?
Welcome one, welcome all. This is episode 53 of One with the Films. We're doing a live taping. I've got Johnny on this side and Ellie on that side. So I'm going to go ahead and get us right into it. Holy sparkling skin, Batman! Is that a career-ending tragedy or the launchpad that will skyrocket two future superstars from bumbling, awkward young adults into elite actors with range wider than the size of the known universe? I think it's the latter. But if we are talking about things that are invisible, either on camera or in mirrors, today marks the lack of one particular white man who generally sits in the chair across from me and is replaced with something else that sucks just as much. See what I did there with all the vampire puns? With me today is the only man I'd leave my corpse to, for sustenance, of course. We got the Asian persuasion, the discount Shang-Chi himself, the fast-talking, MCU-humping, beaver-tail-devouring Canadian wonder. It's not Ryan Reynolds, but he's just as handsome. It's the Marvelous Jonathan. Say g'day, Marvelous Johnny.
G'day, Marvelous Jonathan.
What up, baby? Thank you so much for coming on and being a co-host today, my man.
Of course, my friend.
And the only person on the planet who would have the audacity to recommend this tragedy of a film, in the Shakespearean context, of course, is the mother of Grogu herself. And if you think Edward shines in the daylight, get a look at this star. You can't help but love her. It's the wonderful, wonderful Eliana, respect 8. Say hi, Queen. How we doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
We're so glad to have you. I'm so glad I got to watch this movie.
Honestly, same. But a friendly reminder that you can find One with the Film on your podcasting platform of choice, as well as live and on demand right here. And if you are I am
English.
slurring my speech. English is hard.
You
and if you are in the live chat
shots
today, please feel free to join in the conversation. We always love hearing from you. And if you're listening on demand, don't worry. We still love you. That being said, Naf, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what we're doing today?
I sure can, and Ken's already in chat saying, so bad it's good. What? So we've got a anti-truther here. We've got an NPC in chat who doesn't understand what we're dealing with here, okay? But the weekly watch list, that's what happens when a bunch of friends with very unique and wonderful taste in films, like wonderful, okay, have tried too hard for too long to finally share and discuss their favorite films with one another. And if you've been around for a while, you already know the shtick. However, for the uninitiated, the idea is that for every episode, at least one person is watching that chosen film for the first time. It's all about having a space for creators to share the art that matters most to them and then give them a platform to show us all why. So, if you like listening to a bunch of nerds geek out and force each other to watch and then discuss their favorite films for the very first time, feel free to follow or subscribe. You can send us to your friends, and if you like, you can even activate notifications so you never miss a new episode. And of course, we're on all your favorite socials as well. All the links are in the descriptions below. Whew. So, Eliana, Ellie, Spectre 8, Mother of Grogu. Tell me, Ellie, what is a brilliant film that not enough people have seen?
It's Twilight New Moon.
Goodness me. What a choice. 2009, directed by Chris Weitz. And can you tell me in one sentence, one really good sentence, why did you pick this film? Why did you do this?
There's got to be a good sentence.
Yeah.
Unhinged Romeo and Juliet with shirtless werewolves and vampires.
I'm sold. I'm in. I'm there.
Honestly,
baby.
If you had just pitched that to me, I won't lie, I would have caved. And then here's the thing, if you pitched it to me today, you gave me that pitch and you said Batman's in it, I'm like, okay, fine. And Shark Boy? Yeah, fine. I'll give it a shot.
Dude, the amount of like superhero in here is insane, you know? Like,
right?
Yeah.
And Kristen Stewart played like Diana, didn't she? So like all the superheroes.
Yeah, she did.
Did not know that.
So Johnny, I'm very curious. What did you know about this film before diving in like 2 hours ago?
So, I did just only. Here's the thing. I started it partially last night. Stopped. Watched Shang-Chi instead because I was so tired. I finished it a little bit of
you needed something to put you to sleep, so you put Shang-Chi.
I needed.
Makes sense.
Excuse me. I will actually fly to Australia and stick my foot right up in your kisser. Whoa. Anyways, my only reference for anything involving Twilight is one, the movie Vampire Sucks. If you are unfamiliar with that film, imagine scary movies or superhero movies, but with vampires and werewolves. And I have seen the first Twilight 2 years ago when I ran my own podcast at the time, and I had to watch it and actually pay attention, because if I got any questions wrong, I had to eat I had to take a bite of flaming hot bulldog noodles. If you haven't had those, they burn your mouth.
Why
even for someone who has a spice palate.
Oh my god!
We can do it another time. We'll save it for another time.
We didn't do it because I'm whiter than the vampires and I would die.
I'm sure Keegan would have you beat. Honestly, that should be a segment you guys do with Keegan.
Who's whiter? And I just sit here moderating as like the
because you can handle the spice.
Yeah.
Flavor.
Wicked.
But yeah,
actually,
that's
I
my
really want to
reference
do
for anything Twilight.
Amazing. And I really want to do like hot ones at one point. Like I want to see if I can convince Keegan to do it for like our top 10 or something. Like each number we do a wing.
Wait, Nav, very quickly off topic. Can you please include me on that? But also bring Tate in, because when we went to Disneyland this year, he had chili flakes in his pasta and he was sweating.
No.
Oh, I heard about that. It was like red pepper, right?
It was just basic ass chili flakes.
We got some more messages from Ken in chat as well, who said, as someone who has seen these films from the jump and still watching them with his wife, no, just no. And he says, as a monster purist, these are not vampires and they're not werewolves. They're called skinwalkers. And he says, yes, heavy NPC player right now. So, but yeah, they definitely took a lot of liberties with how they interpreted these monsters in particular. Mm-hmm. But for myself, we talked about this a little bit, Ellie, because I remember we were going to the beach to go tide pooling that day. We were talking about how you picked the original Twilight because neither Keegan nor I had seen the original Twilight. And then we kind of came with this idea where I was like, but why can't it be New Moon? Like, you want it to be New Moon. Like, what if I just watch New Moon and nothing else? And that's exactly what I did.
See, at least I've seen the first one, dude.
Did you really need the first one? Were you able to figure out what was going on here?
Thing, like my housemate and my girlfriend, these are like some of their favorite films. So, they both were like, you need to watch the first one. Like, you're not going to get it. And I was like, guys, I don't think it's as deep as you think it is. Like, I think I'm going to do just
not that
fine.
Deep, bro.
I've seen enough, everything wrong with videos to know what's going on in this. So like nothing in this surprised me kind of story-wise. It all like was somewhat familiar to me, but I'd never sat down and watched it from start to finish, Mm-hmm. But I'm curious from your perspective, Ellie, like how did you come to find these movies?
So I started with a hate boner for Twilight. So back in the day when Twilight was coming out and before we knew J.K. Rowling was a terrible human being, I was a Harry Potter fanatic. Like I had a Harry Potter bat mitzvah and it was this Harry Potter versus Twilight dichotomy. And I was like, how am I supposed to hate on these if I haven't actually read them? So then I read them and I secretly liked them, but I had to pretend to hate them to keep up my image. Cause I went to the preppiest high school on the planet, older than George Washington. And had to do it. But then I became secretly obsessed with them. And then I saw the movies, which, if you haven't read the books, the movies are one of the most faithful book to movie adaptations I have ever seen, which is crazy. Like everything that you see on the screen is in the book. Like the way the people are awful, it's like that in the book. And I just unironically love these movies. They're such a comfort movie. And it's just, they're so bad, they're good. And it's just camp.
It's, you mentioned as well, how many times do you reckon you've seen this film?
I said a bajillion. I watch it at least once every 2 weeks.
Also,
oh my
respect.
God.
But also, Ellie, here's the thing. After this movie, I was originally going I kind of want to read the books now just to see how they compare. After your statement there, I don't want to read the books anymore.
No, what you want to read is Midnight Sun. It's Twilight from Edward's point of view. Because remember, Edward can read minds.
This is like a thing that's happening right now, right? Aren't there books coming out of 50 Shades of Grey from his perspective now too, and there's all this just show the other side, which is weird. But we've got a question in chat.
Midnight Sun is wild.
I'm very intrigued. But we've got another question in chat as well, and Ken said Twilight's like Doctor Who. It's not that deep, and you can start anywhere.
Okay, ouch.
Hey,
as a movie
Doctor Who is kind of Adventure of the Week. That's why I like it.
You can start anywhere, but it is a very deep show.
Yeah, I would agree with what Johnny's saying. You can pick up Doctor Who anywhere because I've also left it and then stopped at 10, watched a bit of 11, watched a teeny bit of 12, jumped back in at 13 for like a hot minute, didn't vibe, and then I saw Shooty, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You has my attention.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Shooty brought me back
But like
in.
it is profound. Like Doctor Who is profound.
Yeah, I think it's almost like the Star Wars in that way, you know, where it's like you can watch one thing and be okay with it, but like it'll go as deep as you want it to go. But Kirby's in chat also asked, said hello, and they said, "Do you think real vampires have bad breath?" And I said, "Well, they don't eat garlic."
No, they don't have.
So...
They can't have garlic. Yeah.
And Ken said, "Midnight Sun was so bad, my wife turned it off after a chapter." My God.
So when we say it's so bad, do we mean it's keeping the consistency though?
I mean, like, Edward's gonna be in high school reading people's minds and looking over at like a 16-year-old and then being like, I want her, and I'm 300 years old. So I can imagine it's not ideal.
Okay, that's not fair. He's only 117.
I'm sorry. I missed that because I didn't watch the first movie.
It sounds like a you problem there, buddy.
Is that it's so beautifully unhinged, and it just shows how terrible. Look, you need to read Twilight as the horror it was intended to be. It's a horror masquerading as a romance. Like if Stephenie Meyer had the guts to make it a horror series, it would have been even bigger than it was.
Dude.
Okay,
right. So here's what I want to do next. I'm excited. I want to get some fun facts from you, Johnny. I know we put some stuff together.
Yes.
So why don't you fill us in on some fun facts, and then we'll dive into this conversation in depth.
Okay, so New Moon here had a modest budget of $50 million USD. The film was obscenely successful, bringing in $711 million American during its theatrical run in 2009. So put that in current day perspective, way more. It was the 7th highest grossing film of the year, being knocked out of the top 5 by 1, Pixar's Up, and 2, the Roland Emmerich disaster film 2012. It set domestic records as the biggest midnight opening in the US and Canada. Canada, I'm a little bit disappointed in you. Which was beaten. Wait, Nap, there's a little bit of information missing there.
You may have deleted it.
Oh, shit.
Control C?
Nope.
You're good. Even so, like it was beaten by the next film in the saga. Like
it was beaten by the next film. Yeah, it was beaten by the next film 1 year later, which is in a very impressive turnaround, right? As beloved as this film is now, though, critically it was a disaster. Holds a 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb from 303,000 reviews and a 2.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Now we know it stars Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, and Taylor Lautner. The film was directed by Chris Weitz, my bad, infamous for the classic films such as 2007's He was infamous for classic films such as 2007's The Golden Compass and this year's Afraid, you know, with the AI being capitalized. Genius. Very clever. Genius. The film is written by Primetime Emmy nominee and Hugo Award winner Melissa Rosenberg, who was nominated for her work as a producer and writer on Dexter, and won for her work as showrunner and writer on Marvel's Jessica Jones, one of my favorite Netflix Marvel shows ever.
Such a good show.
Right. She also wrote all the other films in this series. The film was greenlit exactly 1 day after the opening of the prior film, and also broke the record for the biggest opening day in the US with $72.7 million, for which it took the record from, wait for it, The Dark Knight. There's a Batman joke somewhere in there. I'm not going to search for it, though. And before Michael Sheen was chosen to play the role of Oro, they were hunting Diego Luna of Andorian fame, for my Star Wars peeps up there, and also considered Ben Barnes, who, mind you's face was way too pretty to properly disfigure for Punisher Season 2. The film features a prominent cast of Native American characters for whom only Indigenous actors were cast, requiring them to have documentation of their Indigenous ancestry to be cast in the film. And of all the books in this series, Robert Pattinson has said that this was one of his favorites. And during a recent rewatch, he said that he had a lot of fun and that the soundtrack in particular was well ahead of its time. Do you all have anything to add? I do have one thing that just popped in my mind.
Yeah, why didn't you hit me first?
This movie, and as well as the subsequent other sequels and Twilight 1, was actually filmed in Seattle. And if I'm correct, parts of it were in Vancouver, where I'm from.
Cute.
Right?
Why didn't you take me to any set locations, Johnny?
House is in Oregon.
I showed you the Deadpool 1 bridge.
Heartbroken. What about you, Ellie? You got any fun facts you want to add to that? You reckon we kind of covered it?
I feel like y'all covered it. My fascination with this film is way less on the technical side, and I'm way more into like the analyzing the film side.
Yeah. That works.
Wicked. Well, before we do go any further, a reminder that these conversations aren't spoiler free. We're not necessarily doing a play-by-play, but we're talking about the film with the expectation that you've already seen it. And, you know, making 711 million during its box office run, maybe enough people have seen this. You know, maybe enough have. But
I mean, it's also been out for like what, 15 years,
something like that.
Yeah,
something like
that math adds up. That math is right on the dot.
Yeah, but it's always cool to go and watch the film and then check back later. You know, you can come and check us out after if you haven't seen the film. But if you haven't seen it, chances are watching this will also convince you to make that leap. And if you want to know what film to watch in advance so you can get excited and come in prepared next week, you can see the link in the descriptions for all our socials. And if you stay here till the end of today's episode, we'll be revealing our next film and guest right here. So, all right. Let's go. Now, Ellie, I asked you earlier, what are some of the things that you wanted to talk about that kind of stand out to you? And one of the big things is particularly like kind of the themes and inspirations here. And you mentioned like Mormonism and how that kind of connects to this film. And you mentioned, I believe, when we were talking in person, that there was some kind of like 400-page dissertation on how this kind of connects. And so hit me, baby, one more time.
I need to find that.
Okay, so Stephenie Meyer, the author of the books, who also helped produce the films, is very famously very Mormon. Yes, and it really plays heavily into it. So the entire series in and of itself is honestly underlaid with this abstinence until marriage and pro-life narrative that goes through it.
Wow.
Particularly in like the third, fourth, and fifth movies.
I clearly need to watch the next three.
Yeah, and then
the other thing is
that like, the idea that everybody needs to be paired up. There's no gay people anywhere to be seen. My personal fan, it like prioritizes a lot of things that Mormonism, old school Mormonism prioritized. So an actual fun canonical fact about the Twilight universe that they did not let Stephenie Meyer carry over into the movies is that transforming into a vampire leaches all pigment, including melanin, from your skin. So even the darkest of complexions become a weird, slightly olive cast once they are transformed. So in order to become perfect, you have to become white.
Whoa!
That would have been very interesting to see with the one black guy vampire that's in this series.
They made her put in one black vampire, but that black vampire, which they don't tell you, is supposed to be part of the first cast in the French Revolution.
Okay, see here, I remember one of my friends telling me a while back that like Edward and his family were part of the American Civil War, and that they were part of the wrong side. Was it Jasper?
So Jasper, the brother who's with the short-haired girl, the blonde, the one who blonde brother, was a literal Confederate. We learned that in the third movie. His backstory is he was the youngest major in the Confederate Army, and he went down to Mexico and did vampire wars over there. I'm kidding,
dude. The lore runs deep.
That gravely impacts which team I'm on, for the record.
Oh my God.
Carlisle is a literal canonical Puritan, like a pilgrim.
Yeah. I know also, wasn't there, I believe it was like in a meme or another podcast that I saw, there was like is it 50 Shades of Grey's like spin-off of this fan fiction, right?
And this is all inspired by My Chemical Romance.
Fan fiction with the serial numbers filed off.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that there's a wild chain of events that result in like 50 Shades of Grey, because you have
you have 9/11. You have My Chemical Romance. Okay, hit us with it.
Y'all, this was actually my first big break on TikTok, running through.
Oh yeah?
Like the first video I ever made that went viral.
That's probably where I saw it.
So basically, long story short, the CIA in the 70s funds something and basically funds Bin Laden, teaches Bin Laden how to do this, teaches Bin Laden how to be a terrorist. Bin Laden then does 9/11. The CIA claims that they didn't actually fund Bin Laden, but whatever. So then 9/11 happens. And then there is a Cartoon Network intern who is walking to work, sees the Twin Towers fall and is totally traumatized, and then makes music to deal with this. That man is Gerard Way. I guess not man, but whatever.
Umbrella Academy fame.
Yes. Excuse me. That human is of Gerard Way. He then has My Chemical Romance, which then inspires a Mormon housewife named Stephenie Meyer, in part, who had a weird dream about a sparkly man to write Twilight. Twilight is then massively popular and made into movies. E.L. James writes Master of the Universe, which is a BDSM Twilight fan fiction. That then becomes... It publishes 50 Shades of Grey, massively popular. They make a movie. This is Dakota Johnson's breakout role. Dakota Johnson has a birthday party to which she does invite Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres, however, chooses not to go to that birthday party, to go to a sports game with George W. Bush, of all people, thus bringing us back to 9/11. However, then Dakota comes on Ellen's show to talk about it, and Ellen says, I was so upset you didn't invite me to my birthday party. And Ellen says, no, I did. And because she was upset, Dakota made sure to invite Ellen to her next birthday party. And then again, it comes out and Ellen bullies her about it. And she's like, actually, you're making me really uncomfortable, which then blows wide open the fact that Ellen DeGeneres wasn't actually this amazing, great human, and then the show was toxic and her empire crumbles. And all of this because the CIA decided to fund the Mujahideen.
Whoa.
We really should have just not gotten involved in Afghan affairs.
I don't think America should get involved in anything ever, because now we have Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey, God damn it.
Whoa. 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 My God.
I'm just saying this right now. That blows out all the fun facts I read out earlier.
How dare you? I spent like 30 minutes writing those.
Okay, yes, but does yours involve 9/11 and terrorists?
Whoa. But basically, as far as Mormonism goes, this is Joseph Smith.
That man is a Simpson. He's yellow. Johnny, no.
Joseph Smith. I was going to print this out, but I ran out of ink. I'm sorry, guys.
I forgive you.
God. So
this is Carlisle Cullen.
Oh my God.
Carlisle Cullen comes to America, and basically, so the thing you have to know about vampirism, and so basically Mormonism is pervade in this entire series, whether Stephenie Meyer meant to or not. The thing you have to know about this is that you have to look at it this way. You have humans who don't know anything of the supernatural world, and they are kind of neutral. You have vampires who are superior because they are just superior in every way, and they've seen the light. And then you have the werewolves who actively resist the vampires. When there comes to two vampires, we have two schools. The people who have been in Italy for thousands of years and are seen as opulent, corrupt, greedy, and evil because they eat the humans who don't know any better. Then you have your savior, who again bears a striking resemblance to Joseph Smith, who came to America and found the true way, eating animals, which makes him even better. Because remember, the Volturi are still better than the humans. They're still vampires. But, you know, the true enlightened way is this new American way.
Well, okay.
And then you have the people who are actively resisting the vampires, who are the Native Americans. And if you know anything about Mormon doctrine, they have tried to sweep this under the rug. But guess who the Native Americans are in Mormon doctrine?
Who?
The lost 10 tribes of Israel.
Whoa.
So the indigenous peoples are then lumped in with the people. And then remember, if vampirism is a metaphor for Christianity, you are the people who are actively rejecting Jesus Christ are your villains.
Dude.
And are set as animalistic. And they're basically portrayed as animalistic, out of control, unable to do anything.
Feral.
Beasts, feral beasts. And then you have the humans who just don't know any better. So yes.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
Yeah.
It's
This does help further support my stance on which team I'm on, for the record.
I mean, yeah. But
Just saying.
It's like it was really interesting that particularly for like I've seen this a lot more recently, and there was the kind of what was it, the the drama with the last Airbender TV series where they wanted like indigenous peoples to
They wanted indigenous guy, but they casted Sokka, who wasn't actually indigenous.
Wasn't he a pretendian?
Yeah, so it was much. Like that, so right? One of those.
Yeah, it was like one of those made like, so Americans apparently have like a lot of the indigenous tribes which aren't actually, but they claimed it to be so that they could get certain benefits of being indigenous, and that's what he was a part of.
Blood I mean, that would be like me running around saying I'm indigenous because I have like 5% Seminole DNA. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, I think it's it makes sense because I suppose that like it was one of the things they did with Prey a few years ago. With same deal, they got a lot of like indigenous actors, and they even did like a dub of the film in Comanche, which was so cool.
I love that version.
We got Ken said in chat as well that his true hot take is that Vampire Diaries is better than Twilight.
I've not seen Vampire Diaries, so
you wound me.
Am I allowed to say Buffy's better then?
Yes, you can say Buffy's better than. Okay, then we're good.
Wow, yeah, I haven't
even though it has Joss Whedon. Buffy is so good, dude.
Yeah, I've seen none of it. I was told, you know, like it's solid and that I would like it, but I just one of those things I never got around to. Yeah, but like particularly like the casting of these roles for characters who are indigenous, like to the country, and then making sure that they have like essentially like paperwork that we were saying in the fun facts to go like I am, and that's the only way that you can get cast in a role like this. Like I wasn't sure if this was one of the first films to do that or if it goes back further. But it was an interesting thing to read.
I do know that there were issues with some of the paperwork later on. So some people argue that like Taylor Lautner isn't actually Native American. Wow. Like there's some people where it's up for debate. But you know, I try not to get too deep into that stuff. I think that they were trying to go in the right direction, but like, let's also not beat around the bush. The portrayal of the indigenous community in this movie and in these series is deeply, deeply flawed.
Yeah, it's
so bad.
There's definitely a lot going on there, but like beyond kind of the like specifically like the themes of the films, which I'm sure we'll like wrap back around to as well. Like in terms of how this came to exist on the screen, there's a lot that went into the craft here, and one of the things that stood out to me a lot was the script. And again, Jessica Jones season 1 is like one of my favorite written TV series like of all time. Like it is exceptional.
Absolute perfection to me.
And a lot of Dexter I found to be like really great as well. And learning that person wrote this, it's questionable. It makes
all of them
like, I guess, you know, you can't run without taking, you know, crawling first. And this is kind of the crawling there, but it's so weird. I feel
like this is actually like the attempted run, then fall on face.
There's we're talking about how there's like no homosexuals in the film, but like as soon as you said it, what popped into my head was the two friends of Jacob walking into the barn and being like, "So this is your girlfriend?" It's like, I think it's a girl and a friend, and they just start like play wrestling next to her, and they're just like, "Yeah, it was like doing? It was very cool. Stop it, bro! Don't do that." No, and I was like,
do you want me to ruin it for you? Ruin the third movie? They don't explain imprinting in depth in this movie, but essentially the werewolves have uncontrolled soulmates that when they look into the eyes of their perfect genetic match, they just know, and then they won't age until this person is ready. So one of those friends imprints on a 2-year-old.
I have seen the clip of "Did you imprint on my daughter?"
Stewart. Yeah, exactly. I heard that. I remember that.
Also, that baby's CGI, right?
Yeah, for part of it.
That baby's CGI.
Yep.
Rasputin is CGI. Little Ragnarok. She's a terror child.
The animatronic was way scarier though.
Yeah, but we do not call Robitussin by her real name. We have to just choose something multisyllabic that starts with R.
Okay, yeah. I remember that Ragnarok, joke from one of my friends. Rambunctious. Hell yeah.
What a name though. What a name. But and particularly the performances here as well. So one of the things that I wrote in my Letterboxd review for this is how did we not, after like the first kiss in this scene, know and accept Kristen Stewart as gay? Because like, bruh, like, whoa. I was like, I have not, the only time I saw less intimacy than this in a public forum was between my parents. And they got divorced a week later. I'm kidding. My parents are actually still happily together.
In their defense, Edward and Bella can't actually kiss with tongue because his saliva will turn her into a vampire.
Whoa, there's context for this.
When I say that this series is one of the single most faithful book to movie adaptations I've ever seen, it is. Like, when I talk about how bad the writing is, like, you guys are laughing. A lot of that is lifted almost directly from the book with no changes. Like, Edward and Bella are that skit in the book. Like, Bella is supposed to be, it's Stephenie Meyer's self-insert fan fiction with her marvelous mystery guy that came up with her dream, because you know who she wanted to be Edward, by the way.
Do I really want to know, or am I about to get freaked out?
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, there's a bit of freakiness then.
Oh my god. It's interesting that like with all of it being like lifted almost directly from the book, like you get that kind of faithful adaptation, but it then begs the question, you know, like, do we need it to be faithful? You know, like, do we always need to have 100% correct when we adapt things? You know?
Not in this case. This series could have benefited from the Percy Jackson treatment.
Yeah.
I love seeing the like clips of Robert Pattinson during the marketing for this. People asking him questions about it. He's just laughing. He's like, dude, this is just a bag, bro. This is just a bag.
Yeah.
He literally almost got fired for how much he hated these movies.
I remember hearing about that. Yes.
Dude, it's funny though, because like I know that like when the Batman stuff started happening, you know, and he was getting, and people were like, what the hell? And kind of like the main like kind of, what's the word? People who are in like pop culture and talk about like the generic people who are like, why would you pick this guy? This is like Edward Cullen. And it's like,
yeah,
between Twilight and Batman, he has done so much like
the
marvelous, like incredible work that when it came around,
the Lighthouse, and then there's the one where he has like the brother and like they rob the bank, and I don't know the name of the film.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up in a sec, but
I feel so bad. Everybody who acted in this film was on point. The problem is that you can't polish a turd but so much. Like, this is literally they are Edward and Bella from the book. It's not their fault that the source material is literal garbage. Like, I love it dearly. I love it. That's what's so fascinating for me about Twilight, is how amazing and love we can have for something, even when we know objectively it is racist trash. Like, it's racist, Christian hegemonic trash.
It's wild. And like, he's got like it. I remember one of his big, I think this is one you're probably talking about, Ellie, but like one of the big calls to like put him back in the limelight again is he watched one of the films by the Safdie brothers, and then he like chased them and was like, I need whatever you're doing, like, I need it. I need to do it. And they were like, well, what we're working on right now wouldn't actually like suit you, but give us like a week. And they put together the script for Good Time, and then they filmed that on like a shoestring budget. Yeah. And that's brilliant. And these are the guys that went on to do Uncut Gems, you know, like, so great film. But yeah, so he's got a lot of films in there as well. He did The King with Timothée Chalamet, where he was great in that as well.
I'm so glad. I'm obsessed with that film because that was medieval bullshit, which is like my other thing. I do nerd and I do history.
In Tenet, he kind of gave me big like James Bond kind of vibes too. I was like, I could see that for him, you know. And then you obviously, by the time it came around for him to be in the Batman, for me, I was like, this is fantastic casting. Like, and then seeing the kind of what happened on the internet, I was like, oh, okay, well.
I still remember working at Starbucks the day they announced him as Batman.
I have a question for you, Ellie, as a book reader. At the start of every one of Bella's lines, does it open with like, Bella scoffed and shrugged and then looked and darted?
Decent number of them do. It's a lot of Bella shrug, Bella gasped. So Bella is supposed to be like, she is stereotypical, not like the other girls. Like, that is her whole thing. But the funniest part is, if you read the books, she is like the other girls, but Edward just can't read her mind. Like, I believe that the only reason Edward actually likes Bella is that he can't hear her and that he can project his perfect woman onto her. But Bella is supposed to be not like the other girls, which means she's exactly like the other girls. And then you have your Alice is like, there's just so many tropes. You have your pixie manic dream girl, your giant joker, your beauty queens. Like,
I mean, Kristen was it Serratos was in it, and you know, hats off to her throughout.
There's obviously lots of parallels between this film and like Romeo and Juliet as well, and they're not subtle. Like we're watching it in class, we open with a shot of like her sleeping, hugging the book. I was like, is this for real right now? Are we actually doing this?
Each book in the Twilight series is based off of a work of classic literature, and New Moon is Romeo and Juliet. And they have reading questions in the end of the Twilight books in the editions that I've seen. And they literally talk about which book they're comparing them to. So it is literally supposed to be a Romeo and Juliet adaptation, and it is probably the single most unhinged Romeo and Juliet adaptation we've ever seen. And in the book, Bella talks about how Jacob could be her Paris, and if Juliet had never met Romeo, she would have been happy.
Dude.
Yeah, she literally calls Jacob her Paris.
Oh my god! And Johnny, I know that like when we were talking about like the script and stuff like that before as well, like one of the things that stood out to you, it was like the use of slow-mo. And I know Zack Snyder didn't direct this, but like talk to me a little bit about your feelings on some of those choices.
Here's the thing. When I was watching the movie, I didn't think Zack Snyder. You know who did come to mind though? Michael freaking Bay.
Okay.
The action sequences especially.
But nothing blew up.
The explosions in the next one when Jacob imprints on a child.
Besides, the moment Edward shoves Bella into that glass table, I'm like, Michael Bay, is that you?
Do you know what this film makes me think of? Is I don't know if it actually came from it, but there was that trend on TikTok that popped off, and it's like we're wolves running in the wild, and I noticed you, and it's like, I never meant to make you laugh.
I was not around for that.
That's
one.
what I think of. It's
except there's like one actual excellent use of camera work in this movie that always sticks with me, and that shot where Bella is just in her room after Edward leaves, and she's just still,
and it's just spinning,
and it just spins.
Time is passing, and she's sad.
So in the books, there's literally 4 pages where they write October, November, December.
Whoa.
So
like September, October, November, December.
That's
and like that's how they translated that onto film. But like that is actually, I think, the one thing where they did such a good job of like actually portraying like depression on film while trying to move quickly through time.
There was these moments too where they have these like Spielberg type shots where it's, the camera's going through the pane of glass. Like it's very iconic Spielberg. Yeah. I think, isn't there one where it goes through the eye and comes out the other side?
Yes,
I think so, yeah.
And I was just like, you're like Mr. Chris Weitz. Like, look, you did Golden Compass and they chose you for this. This should have been a Spielberg film. I look at films like this sometimes and I go, imagine what would have happened if you put like just think of this for a second, right? Martin Scorsese presents the Twilight Saga, New Moon. I want to see that film. I want to see it.
I would find another reason to hate these films then.
Dude. Ken says, what's the real shocker? Jacob only loved Bella because of her future child with Edward. God, I hate that I know that. You know too much about this, Kenny.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So basically, Jacob is only obsessed with Bella because the imprints on, I've run out of R words, rigatoni.
Regurgitation.
And so, because it gets so bad. So basically, Jacob gets hurt in Eclipse, the 3rd book, and Carlisle steals his blood, which is just a whole other thing about the white guy stealing the Native Americans' blood to do creepy ass pseudoscience. But basically, so the werewolves have 24 sets of chromosomes, and the vampires have 25 sets of chromosomes. And I have a whole rant on how like Stephenie Meyer has no understanding of basic science, and if she was smart, she would have put the werewolf gene on the 23rd X chromosome, like hemophilia or like color blindness. So like something where it's expressed in men way more easily, because like to be like have pattern baldness, you need 1 copy on that X gene, but women need 2 copies, so it's much more rare. And then it would explain why she has 1 female werewolf and why imprinting is important. Because remember, if only males are generally expressing the gene, but you're getting the trait from your mother, who your mother is way more important. Also, indigenous societies in the Pacific Northwest are matrilineal, and that's how they do their descent. So like, we could just incorporate some of that, and then it's like your mother matters. That's why they need to imprint, because the father has to teach the son how to werewolf, but he's only giving the gene to his daughters. So he needs to make sure that he's having children with somebody who has the gene. But like, all of that on another story. I've totally lost the plot. Where were we?
We're talking about slow motion.
Now we're getting to gene therapy.
I mean, I'm learning a lot, and that's what I came here for. You know, like I came here for the lore. That's just...
Yeah. Do you want me to give
we
you
were talking about why Jacob falls in. Why Jacob falls in love with
Bella.
No,
with regurgitation.
Because half of regurgitation is in Bella's ovaries, which also begs the question: do you think he fell in love with Edward for like a week of their wedding before they conceived Ragnarok? Like,
I reckon,
how does he feel about that? So like, yeah, the only reason Jacob is obsessed with Bella is that he's in love with the egg inside of her that contains his destined fated mate. I hate this series so much sometimes.
Bring pedophilia to a whole new level.
I love the...
Yeah, but see what I mean? Like, if Stephenie Meyer had just leaned in and made this a horror, it would have been brilliant. Because like Bella is also deathly afraid of her own blood. And like she has this supernatural control and she's able to smell blood when she bleeds and all of this stuff. Like, has she just made Bella part vampire and then she has a part vampire baby and she literally just made it a horror? Because, you know, Esme, Carlisle's wife, they're basically just like, Carlisle is like this little taskmaster with a little Stepford wife. And like none of them actually care about human life. They only care about their own moral superiority and saving their souls. So like if Stephenie Meyer had just leaned in and made it a horror, it could have been brilliant.
Dude.
Because yes, all of this horribly racist stuff in the indigenous community goes on, but it's a horror. It's skewed. It's not how it's supposed to be. Like it was like we were so close, but yet so far.
Johnny, thoughts?
I'm just mind boggled.
Well, here's a question for you. When sitting down to watch this film 2.5 hours ago, did you expect that this film would have superior visual effects to
I swear to God,
Thor: Love and Thunder with a floating head? Like,
look, all I'm gonna say is when I was watching, I was like, why does it look like modern day CGI? I will say though, whenever Edward disperses, it actually looks pretty damn good.
Yeah. I think that's also like that kind of visual effects is something they perfected with like Nightcrawler. It's that kind of vibe, that sort of fluid smoke animation.
Yeah,
which is really cool. But like that. Also, I can never get over the video of the behind the scenes where Kristen Stewart is petting Taylor Lautner on the head in the green screen.
I love that.
It's so funny. But like,
actually made him run around on all fours. It's hilarious.
But the wolves look pretty good.
They look
like,
so
honestly.
good, honestly.
For the movie being made in a year in 2009 with a $50 million budget, the CGI is impeccable. Although I would argue that CGI has just gone down the crapshoot lately because everybody it's as much as I love the MCU, it is totally the MCU's fault because they're just trying to pump so much shit out all of the time, and like just the quality of the industry has gone down.
Yeah, it's like we have like the Writers Guild.
I'm sorry, and that's on the MCU and not the industry?
It's absolutely on the MCU, dude.
What's driving the industry? What big money making movies that are coming out constantly are driving the CGI industry for the last 10 years?
Who gave them the money?
Fight me.
You did, Johnny. So it's your fault.
You did. We did.
It's not my fault Shang-Chi was that damn good.
Shang-Chi was so good, and I love my little furry butt man. What was his name? Harrison?
Morris.
My favorite joke in that movie.
He was so fun. I've only seen Shang-Chi like twice.
It's my favorite joke in that movie is when they see him and they're like, what the hell is that? And Trevor's like, you can see him? I'm not crazy. And it's like, bro, you are.
The man was a drug addict. His brain's fried a little.
I think like what we've learned with modern films is two things. One is the visual effects works best when the director has some kind of understanding of what's happening. You know, we shout out like Everything Ever All at Once that has
James
brilliant like visual effects in it, and the visual effects were done by the directors. You've got Godzilla Minus One that just won the Academy Award for visual effects, and the director is also the head of visual effects there. So like these people are involved, invested, and the key is not money, sweetie, but it's time. And that's what Disney didn't allow for with the constant stream of releases, right? And it's another thing surprising
that
about
goes
this
to
film,
Star Wars
right?
2 for the record.
Yeah, but like ILM is just like on it though. Like we've not seen like, particularly with like films, you know, like of those films that came out in that time, like they're perfect. But had Star Wars moved to 3 films a year, and you can see it a bit with like the series when they're kind of coming out like crazy, so you feel the difference. Yeah, it feels very prequel.
Remind me, Nav, what's one of your biggest complaints with the most recent Star Wars shows? You know, with the giant screen backgrounds again, or I forget what it's called.
The volume?
There we go, the volume.
What about it?
Don't you always have the issues with the volume as well, though?
Not really.
I'm just saying.
I don't recall having issues with the volume. I don't know why you're making this up. What I don't have issues with...
Okay, never mind, regardless. Anyways, back to Twilight.
So here's the thing that I want to talk about, right? So we have, essentially, within this film, Romeo and Juliet, we have like star-crossed lovers, right? People that are meant to be together and kind of can't for whatever sort of reason. And I think another film that portrays that so like wonderfully and a little bit more kind of like subtle, but also like right on the nose, and also with like apparitions and visions of one another, The Last Jedi. Like you just have Kylo.
Reylo is a hack job. Reylo is a hack
You're
job.
a hack job.
Do not go there. Reylo is a hack job, and nobody can convince me otherwise.
Sorry, I'm a big Reylo shipper here, so...
I love...
I mean, Johnny, if it makes you feel any better, I have no taste in ships. I am a Destiel shipper.
It's fine. I have terrible taste in women, so...
So, how's your girlfriend doing?
Well, we can talk about that later.
So, yeah, but I actually, I mean, Last Jedi references because they need to be made, you know? It's just like it's podcast requirements.
Me with Shang-Chi.
But like, it's like, I do love that aspect of it quite a bit. I love the I want to pull you to my side and I want to pull you to my side and let's see what's going to happen and is everything going to destroy and is the universe going to end? But I find this film hilarious for all those same reasons, right? And again, the easiest bag that Robert Pattinson probably ever made, because he's in the film for what, like 15 minutes or something. Like he shows up, he's like, and my favorite bit of dialogue is, "I'm coming. I don't want you to come."
Yeah, I remember that. I was listening. I'm like, the fuck?
And that line right there.
Remember, Twilight is an abstinence-only propaganda stream. I'm not even kidding. Like, there's this.
They could have. Wait, one more time for me, please. I don't think I heard you correctly. They could have what?
Ellie has done.
Do you not know about soaking, Johnny?
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Johnny, when the podcast is finished.
The misfortune of being exposed to BYU.
So, Johnny, when the
you
podcast is
really
finished.
glad you live in Canada.
When the podcast is finished, I want you to just look up soaking and Mormonism.
It sounds so dirty.
Oh, sweetie, you have no idea. You have
no idea.
Like a very, very dirty sponge bath.
Actually, quite accurate, honestly.
It sounds like a dirty sponge bath while you're turning someone into soup.
Also accurate. All of it's accurate. Like, nothing you're saying is incorrect in the slightest. But
nothing you're saying is incorrect.
I think that line specifically is what inspired E.K. Johnston.
Not her. No, I don't know.
E.K. Johnston wrote the Ahsoka book. Don't do her dirty like that.
Oh my god, I meant E.L. James. Oh my god.
I met E.K. Johnston. She's a lovely lady.
I've interviewed her.
Oh my gosh. My bad. Oof. But yeah, the visual effects in this film do stand out as like pretty good. I saw one of the things in the fun facts where they were talking about for the scene where Bella is drowning, they wanted to do it in a way where they put weights in her jacket and throw her into the pool and film her falling. And she was like, guys, that seems like not smart. It seems dangerous. Like, I don't want to do that. And the director was like, no, guys, like, I got this. I'll show her that it's okay. And so he put the weight in his jacket and jumped into the pool. And the second that he hit the floor of the pool, he had a panic attack, pulled the weight, and was like, he's like, we're not doing that to her. We're not doing it. No.
And the way Kristen Stewart would have said, guys, I feel like she's very not smart. She would have said it in exactly that tone.
She'd have been like, guys, that doesn't seem smart.
Yeah.
Just done the whole like nail biting thing. Just like this, it's not smart.
It just seems like not smart.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Love Lies Bleeding? I love
Kristen Stewart though. Just like I'm obsessed with that one.
Have you seen Love Lies Bleeding?
No.
Still on my list.
That's one of my favorites.
I did go see. Let me tell you how obsessed I am. I did go see Charlie's Angels in the theater 3 times.
I watched it for Naomi Scott.
Oh, on the topic of baddies, Edward's sister?
Which one?
The one who can see into the future?
That one.
I do like her. She is the hero of this story, for the record.
I was like, oh, kill me. I'm here for it. It's fine. Like,
you were going to step on me, weren't you?
Step on me, bite me, drink all the blood. Like, it's all good. You can have it. Like,
drain me.
As we said in the intro, you're the only man I'd leave my corpse to. But like,
she married a Confederate, just for the record.
It's fine now. She can colonize you.
Oh my god.
She married a Confederate who actively tried to colonize the people of Mexico. I'm not even kidding.
It's fine. He's brown. He's not Mexican, but he's a close enough shade.
I can't with this. I can't with this. I'm done. I'm going home.
See, these are jokes Keegan can't make that I can.
It hasn't stopped him in the past though. Like, go back and.
I believe it.
Ken said in chat as well. Ken said that Romeo and Juliet did it better.
I love those movies.
Dude, mental. But one question I have for you, Johnny, and I think like you've alluded to it many times, but like, which team are you, my friend? Are you team 16-year-old boy or 109-year-old man? That's what I want to know.
I am team indigenous people because it's either the indigenous or the fucking Confederates here.
Gosh. Golly, gosh. Can we talk about also, you need to get a thing because like the bikes are really heavy and he picks up the bike and she's like, oh, Jacob, you're so buff. You're like 16. You're so buff. So buff. And we alluded to it earlier, but like before we continue down the realm of which team are we on, Pizza Wrench. Ellie, the problem is the wrench goes this way and the pizza comes this way, and for continuity, that's a stupid fucking decision. Why? It even whip pans that way. It goes this way, it whip pans that way, and it comes back the other way.
It is the best transition in all of cinema now.
All you had to do was go in Premiere and drag horizontal flip on there. That's all you had to do. 10 seconds and it would have been perfect. Fuck you. I can't believe you made me watch this.
I can't believe you pulled me into this.
I couldn't be alone for this one.
I all believe that Ellie instigated this.
So are we allowed to say Ellie tortured the 2 people of color?
Well, Ellie, what team are you on, my friend?
Hear me out. I am Team Edward for one reason and one reason only. Jacob deserves so much better than these assholes. He could do so much better.
He deserves a woman's ovaries.
No, I'm team that Jacob should have ended up with Leah Clearwater, who is the guy who had the heart attack. His daughter turns into the first female werewolf, and she was actually Sam's girlfriend before Sam imprinted on Emily. And so Sam dumped her for Emily because he just couldn't control it. You know, because that's his woofy soulmate. And Emily was her cousin. And then everybody's mean to her, and she's the only female werewolf. And then in the last book, they like have such a meaningful and deep relationship. But I just believe that Jacob deserves so much better than Bella, so she needs to fuck off with Edward. Because like Jacob is objectively the better man, and she just doesn't deserve him.
I'm with you on that, honestly.
There was a scene that I found like unironically hilarious too, and it's the one where they're all going to the movies, and then Jacob comes and there's the dude who's like kind of into Bella, and it's like a bit of like competition, a little bit of like a love triangle thing happening there, and then the guy's like, oh, you should go to the doctors, we could take you to the hospital.
It was very awkward.
I could put you in the hospital. I was like, what? We escalated so quickly here. What happened?
But also that movie was like one of the most immaculate uses of the Wilhelm scream in cinema, because it's supposed to be, it's called like, the movie is called like Face Smash Bitch. It's like some sort of like zombie slasher horrible thriller. And like, if you got it, like, I have respect. Like, if you're gonna sneak it in, that makes sense.
That's where you put it. Yeah. I mean, just imagine the alternative, like when she jumps off the cliff to, like, you know, force Edward to come and save her. It's like, what?
Lord.
It's mental. And then you got those scenes in Italy just like out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, wow, they got to Italy quick.
Yeah, it was intense.
Turns out it was for 3 days.
This movie's wild, dude.
Legit, it made it look like they just drove to Italy.
Yeah.
I wonder, so, yeah, like, I don't know what team I'm on here. I feel like from this film, it's hard, like, this film alone, it's hard to be in either person's team, because I feel like Edward, like, one can't communicate for anything. Like, just, I'll dump you and leave the country. And, well, exactly. Like, literally, so many things here would be fixed with just a little bit of, like, therapy, you know? And Jacob is, like he's borderline creepy at times. Like, is
that like, why I relate to him?
But he's like, also a 16-year-old boy. Like in
so
his
cringe.
defense.
So it's like, I was thinking that. I'm like, he is a kid, and he likes an older girl. And, like, I've been 16 and liked a girl that was a couple years older than me, and, like, pined over her and been like, oh my god, I wish she would like me. I'm gonna read all the books that she likes. Like, it's been a thing. So, like, I get it, and I feel for him. But then his wig sucks. So
I was telling Nats about this earlier. Actually, I kind of like long-haired Jacob more than short hair.
He looks better with
can
short
we
hair.
talk about the hair?
Please.
They recasted Jacob's two best friends, because the original ones that they cast refused to cut their hair for the movies because they were indigenous.
Yeah.
So they made all of these indigenous boys cut their hair for these movies.
That adds up for this series, honestly. The more you've told me, I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I remember seeing, it was recently, I think when I was at the Melbourne Film Festival, there was talk of, which film was it? But there was saying about how in, like, the culture of the indigenous, like, the hair is, like, sacred. And often people would cut their hair when they're in, like, mourning. And so when people showed up and, like, took these kids away from their families and put them in, like, white people schools and, like, cut their hair, like, it's like a traumatic experience for these kids, because they're thinking, my parents are dead. And, like, whoa, man, white people got chill. Got chill, man. Just like,
like, it's so terrible. And it's just like the fact that they did that as a form of entertainment is just, like, honestly grosses me out.
They also do it to Chinese people, like, later down the line too.
Damn. Damn.
Then again, we don't have as much of a significance with our hair.
But, like,
they cut off my people's hair too, but we're not going to talk about the 1940s.
Gosh. But I find it hard to be on any team at all. Like, I want the best for Bella, and I think Bella has poor choices in people, and she treats these guys like shit. Like, she literally looks Jacob in the eye and goes,
Edward.
I love you, but don't make me choose, because I'll choose him. If somebody said that to me, bro, I would.
Bella deserve each other. They both suck.
Vampires
and they deserve to be horrible together.
Yeah, like they're perfect for one another. It's so gross. It's so gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I hate everyone in this film. I hate everyone. No one has redeemable qualities
except for Edward's sister.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I hate Alice. However,
you hate Alice too? Okay.
Alice is creepy in the books. Like, she does all this, like, she plays Bella Barbie, and Bella hates it. And, like, it's so weird because she sees all this stuff in the future. So the other thing we learn in Midnight Sun is that Edward had already decided to leave Bella before the start of New Moon.
Huh.
And they just, like, went along with it.
Classic family vibes. It's painful. It's painful. And it's the thing where, like, I look at her and I go, I don't like you as a character either, but, like, there are things that I would look over, and it's okay. I will still accept you in my life as my savior. Please. I like the Volturi. Is that what they're called?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's his name? The dude from Stranger Things, Jamie something.
Jimmy Kimmel Bauer.
Yeah, just seeing him in the background,
Jamie
little
Lee Bauer,
baby
something
face
like
dude.
that.
He had actually originally auditioned to play Edward as well.
Oh, no. Do you mean the one who plays the twin or the one who has the throne?
No, the Jamie Campbell Bell, the one who was in Stranger Things, right?
I don't know if he was in Stranger Things. He played Jace in the original in the Mortal Instruments movies.
He was in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen Stranger Things, okay?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's him.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, but blonde James Bay. It's crazy. But anyway.
He looks so weird.
He is an interesting looking dude, isn't he?
Yeah, which works for
35 years
Vecna.
old. He looks young. It's crazy.
He looks 12.
Yeah.
I mean, he was supposed to be, they are supposed to be uncanny valley, so they did a really good job with that.
This film
Or
is
Michael
very
Sheen.
Uncanny Valley.
Michael
Oh, wait
Sheen
till you've seen the last few
carries
movies, dude.
these films.
I saw him recently in 30 Rock, and then seeing him in this, I'm like, Jesus Christ, is this whiplash?
He I read also that he learned so much about the film and his character and his backstory from his daughter. He like got the role, and she's like, "Dad, please do it. Dad, you gotta do it." And then he went and did it.
God.
Actually, him defending Twilight in fantasy made Neil Gaiman cast him in Good Omens too from this role.
Okay, you must have something very good to come out Twilight then.
Yeah, because then people were shitting on Twilight, and he defended fantasy, and he talked about how he liked Neil Gaiman and all this stuff, and he was defending the genre, and Neil Gaiman got word of it. So when Good Omens got greenlit, he said he wanted Michael Sheen to be in it.
He's so perfectly cast for that role as well.
Oh,
Same.
I know.
That show's
I agree with that.
So I'm obsessed.
Him and David Tennant are
Another couple that I ship religiously that I shouldn't.
No, you should. Religiously.
Aziraphale and
Crowley.
Crowley.
Yeah.
I ship
So
it.
one time my ship goes canon. Although Destiel went canon kind of in Spanish at the end. Shout out.
Oh, dude. But like, yeah, like this is one of those films that I feel like you can get your friends around the table and drink or whatever you want to do and have a great time with it. It's like it's difficult because I don't know if it falls into, like, I was explaining it to somebody like this. I was like, if you look at this film as intentionally a comedy, I feel like you have something special here.
Which is why Vampire Sucks is so great.
But like those parody films take like the cheapest jokes, you know? And I'm like, I feel like this as a comedy is funnier than Vampires Suck.
You're talking to the guy who likes to eat at Costco because of a $1.60 hot dog. I like cheap sometimes.
Costco is my happy place.
Same. We got poutine here in Canada at our Costco.
That's nice. They got rid of the churros here in the States, and I'm kind of mad at them about it. But no, Costco is my happy place. Nap, I'm really sorry that you don't have Costco. Also, the gasoline.
Agreed.
How much research have you done into my country, sweetie? Because we do have Costco.
He just doesn't go to one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had Costco outside of the US and Canada.
No.
They have them in Japan too.
We don't have that many.
Don't have Target. None of y'all have Target, so
we had Target. Target was bankrupt because they were stupid here.
And then you killed it.
They killed themselves. They committed suicide.
Hold on.
Okay, you know what we have though, Johnny? You know what we have that you haven't had? We have the Stanley Cup for the last like 20-something years. So
look, I wasn't gonna let the Oilers win it. So
also, Australia has Target as well. Just saying.
You guys have Target?
Yeah, we have Target. We have Target.
Son of a bitch. Not even I have
maybe
Target. I gotta go get the Bellingham.
Do you have Walmart?
No.
They have Walmart. What?
But we don't have Walmart, but we have Kmart. Which
kind
of same thing on a little smaller
died here. I mean, we used to have Kmart when I was little.
All right, let me see. Okay, so that's just stop for a second. Let me refresh a little bit, and we should be up and running again. Make sure, Ken, if you're in chat. Oh, good. I'm thinking to move us over to like Cinema a la carte shortly anyway, so we're gonna wrap up in like 10-15. On. All right, let's see if Ken's still in there. Yeah, I think it's just gone back on again because we've moved spaces. So, yep. All right, we're good. I can't hear Ellie or Johnny. Thank you. Desktop audio was off, so we're back on now. So that should be fine.
There we go.
Yay!
Okay. I can see everyone's running. Sorry about that. Quick crash. Fun times. Great classic hits.
Nothing important.
We were talking about Costco.
Because you were making fun of the fact that I recommended Vampire Sucks.
Yeah. It's you know what I'm saying? But regardless, as we were saying, like this is a film that you can get around the family dinner table with, and so long as you're not like bleeding and there are vampires there trying to eat you can have potentially a lot of fun with this.
Unless you're into that kind of thing, in which case you can still have fun.
I mean, yeah, you are right. Thanks. But yeah, like we've talked about some of the like themes of this film. I have learned so much about the inspirations for this because I did know about that kind of, you know, that subsequent
chain of events.
Yeah, but the kind of ties to Mormonism and how deep that goes, this has been a huge revelation for me. And then also like seeing how you were talking, like, because Mormonism is obviously it's the idea of like you guys got it wrong and we got it right, like the Americanization version of, and going back to like Italy and like you have the, you know, like Spain and this kind of conquest that all started there. You have like Catholics up there and we've got it right, and black people suck, and like, whoa, dude, like Mormons, they're crazy.
Somebody clip that.
Allegedly.
Remember, the Native Americans are the Jews because we rejected Jesus, so we're terrible.
Like, this is wild. It's wild. But
okay,
like,
did you really think you were going to get me on here without me bringing up Judaism? Like, did you actually think that was going to happen?
It's fine. Naf brings up Last Jedi. I bring up Shang-Chi. Everything's perfectly balanced.
We'll have our things. It's all good.
We all have our things.
But it's, yeah, I think that one of the things that I wanted to talk about, though, before we do look to wrap up, is Robert Pattinson's comment about the soundtrack in this film. Actually, legit. Yes. I love the soundtrack in this film. It's fucking awesome.
Slaps.
Like, it would be
the
shit
soundtrack?
that
it goes hard.
Like Twilight soundtracks go so hard. So like 1,000 Years was written for Twilight. The first Twilight film has the baseball scene. If you don't watch the first Twilight film, just do the baseball scene. It's set to Supermassive Black Hole. It's just iconic.
I'm not kidding. That was actually hilarious. It's so over the top.
It needs like boy genius in there though. This movie is like yearning. Yeah. Where's my Hosier? Like, come on.
Yeah. Like if Hosier and Boy Genius were like doing like make it like if it was made today, it would have Hosier, Boy Genius, like Noah Khan just like setting in that Pacific Northwest like
literally
shot.
Was it like why isn't like Edward running to Italy while Noah Khan's playing All My Love? You know, it's like come on,
yeah.
Bro. And particularly from the album that dropped yesterday, the line, if love were contagious, I might be immune to it.
Immune. Yeah.
Oh, it took him right out of my heartstrings. But before we jump over to Cinema a la carte,
he's killing me these days.
He's just, I've seen him 3 times this year. Like,
I'm seeing him in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'm going to music festival.
Send me videos.
I'm hoping he's going to play the new stuff, but we'll see.
I mean, he's played Great Divide at all the shows that I've been to and stuff as well, but yeah. But before we look to wrap up, like we said, we've covered a lot here. And there's so much more that we could cover. We could talk about this film for hours and hours and hours, I'm certain. But Johnny,
I'm sure ADHD would take it to different topics too.
I mean, it happens. This is what we do. Like, bunch of like ADHDs and ADHDs on here, bro. This is gonna happen. Like, it's a neurodivergent.
Bunch of gay ADHDers. Did you think we were gonna stay on topic?
Did you hear that, Johnny? You're gay.
I was gonna say I'm probably the straightest one here, but I guess not.
Oh, are you our token straight? Welcome.
I am the token straight. Here's the thing. I might be more colorful than Keegan, just not in that sense.
Nice. Chat, clip that. But yeah, Johnny, any final thoughts on the film? You happy you watched it? Do you feel like a new man? Do you feel like a new moon?
I feel like I need to go moon someone after watching this just to punish someone else.
Whoa. Does it glow though? That's the question. Did the cheeks glow?
My butt cheeks do not glow.
Damn.
They're tanned.
Yeah, but like what would you rate this out of 10?
4? I feel like be nice on that.
Yeah, I getcha.
Okay, you want to know? Okay, okay, I'll say this. It's a 4 sober. I feel like if I was high, I'd probably give it an 8.
Oh wait, you watched this sober? I'm so sorry.
Were we not supposed to watch this sober?
I should have used it.
You didn't put that in the brief. You didn't put Twilight New Moon must be high.
It wasn't implied that you weren't gonna. I thought it was implied. You watched this shit sober?
I watched it sober.
Gosh. I mean, in his defense, he'd still be like in a state right now if he didn't. So
here's the thing: if I watched it stoned, I think I would have probably fallen asleep from how exhausted I've been the last few days. So.
That's so fair. No. It's just one of those things where it's like, if you watch this film sober regularly, you're probably.
I think I go insane.
But, you know, like, it's me. I watch this film regularly, Johnny. This is my comfort
calling
film.
Yourself out. Damn.
Oh yeah. I'm self-aware.
On the topic of just before we do jump over, like one other thing that I want to mention while Keegan's not here is we were talking about really bad like imaginings of, you know, like the Romeo and Juliet kind of story, and like the worst one that I've ever seen is from Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story that came out a few years ago. Like absolute utter garbage.
Oh yeah.
Horrible film. Guys, can we just get a quick West Side Story by
Stephenie
Steven Spielberg?
Beatriz is in it.
Okay, but Johnny, I just need you to say that West Side Story by Steven Spielberg sucks.
West Side Story by Steven Spielberg sadly sucks.
Ellie, can you give me one of those?
I've never seen it, but I heard that it really sucked.
Okay. One more time with intention as if you've seen it.
West Side Story by Steven Spielberg really sucks.
Keegan, if you're watching, buy it. I love you. It's beautiful. And Ellie, any final thoughts on the film before we move to Cinema a la carte?
I love this film, and I'm so happy to share it with everybody, and all of its like truly unhinged glory. Yeah. But you have to look at it as like, for the people out there, if you're gonna watch, you either have to go in watching it through the lens of it being a horror or a comedy, or just copious amounts of alcohol.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that's some of the stuff I had in mind.
It's one of the films that like had been on my list for so long and just like never got around to, you know? And like just for the sake of like, I want to understand it. I want to be a part of this, you know? And I'm really glad that I did. And I'm glad that I did it in this way too. Like I wasn't sure it was going to work, but we have you who've seen all the movies, Johnny who's seen the first 2 and Vampires Suck, and me that's just seen this. So like what better way to have a roundtable conversation about the film, you know? But I loved it. Like I had a great time with it. It's absurd, it's stupid, it's
again
good.
I wish I did watch it sober.
And Kenny says that Twilight is on par with Dragon Ball Evolution.
Okay, no, Dragon Ball Evolution's bad. I'd rather take this over Dragon Ball Evolution.
Dude. Gosh. All right, well, we always do love to wrap up our episodes with a little game of cinema a la carte, and as a reminder, this is where we get to show you the best way to experience this film through the metaphor of food. So we've each prepared a menu of our own with this week's film as the main course, along with an entree or an appetizer to start, a wine to pair, and a dessert to complete your journey. And you get to decide which set menu you love the most. So be sure to let us know in the comments. And Johnny, I'd love for you to kick us off. And firstly, before we begin, does your set menu have a name? What would we ask for when we walk into the restaurant?
I don't have a name, but I would probably call it Love is Blind.
All right.
If I had to come up with a name.
Love is Blind. Fill me in. Let's hear it. Like, let's see what
actually,
the third place
either Love is
win.
Blind or Love is Bad. But anyways, appetizer. I chose the 2023 film One True Loves that stars Simu Liu in it.
Okay.
And 2 other actors who I don't care about. No, but like the reason why I chose One True Loves is because 1, it was also based off of a novel, as far as I'm aware, and the dialogue in that film does no one any favors. It's not a great film.
I'm so sold.
I'm sorry, Simu. I love you.
Did you tell him that when you met him last week? Were you like, hey, bro, I love you, Shang-Chi. You sucked in One True Loves.
No, I told him, like, I love you, Shang-Chi. I want to see more of the Sabersmith Najima in Star Wars Visions, and just fanboy out.
Nice.
But anyways, main course is, of course, New Moon. And then my pairing of wine is Warm Bodies, starring Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, that's
from
good.
2013. That's a good movie. It's a better version of what Twilight could have been, but with zombies and humans. And as for your dessert, because I thought, you know what, dessert should be something sweet. It's something you look forward to. It's something that should, cleanse a palate a little bit, that after you finish, you just want to kick back and relax.
Oh, yeah.
Hotel Transylvania from 2012.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I'll look at that. That's a really solid third place, dude. Like,
right?
Oh, gosh. How does it feel to suck? No, but give me the rundown again, just quickly. So you've got...
Okay,
it's
so
cold.
I got One True Loves, New Moon, Warm Bodies, Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah, all right. I get it. It's not bad. It's not bad. And what about you, Ellie? Like...
Okay.
Tell me.
I wrote this down so I get it right. So for our appetizer...
Is there a name for your set menu?
I didn't come up with the name, but I guess we can call it...
Rigatoni.
No, Robitussin.
All right, Robitussin.
Robitussin Ragnarok Rigatoni. We're going to name it after fellow Steven Spod. So for the first one, I picked perhaps the best Romeo and Juliet adaptation of all time to kind of get us started, which would be The Lion King 2. If you want to sub in Romeo and Juliet, I will allow it.
Oh, man.
And then the main course is, of course, New Moon. And then for dessert, I feel like we have to go with one of the more culturally significant things that this movie has spawned. So we're going to have to do 50 Shades of Grey.
I accept it. I accept it.
I don't accept it.
And then I added in coffee because I just wanted to put a little teaser in there. I put for coffee. It's very much in the vein of Vampires Suck, but it's called Live Free or Try Hard. And it is season 6, episode 10 of Supernatural, and the entire thing is a Twilight parody.
Whoa.
I really need to go see that now.
Okay.
I need to go see that
cool.
now.
And I'm not sure if you mentioned before, but did you have like a paired wine for your main course?
I guess if we're pairing a wine, let's do Romeo and Juliet. So the appetizer is Lion King 2. The wine is Romeo and Juliet. New Moon. 50 Shades of Grey, that one episode of Supernatural for coffee.
Dude,
oh, Lord.
All right. These are great choices. Now, are you guys ready for mine?
All right, hit me with it.
Okay, so the name of my set menu, when you walk into the one with the films restaurant and you ask for this off of the menu, you're going to ask for, can I have that meme of the lady trying kombucha for the first time? A reminder. That's what we're going for here. So, our appetizer. Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones.
Oh, yeah, that's a good choice. That's a good choice.
It gets the kind of, star-crossed love, people from alternate space.
It's got the terrible dialogue.
You got the terrible dialogue.
I hate
cheesy romance. Like, you have Jar Jar Binks, basically the same kind of
genocide.
It's got everything, it's got everything. You have, what do you call it? Like the savior of the universe, which ties into Mormonism, which I knew before picking this.
That's cheating.
For our main, I have gone with Twilight New Moon. For a paired wine, we have a favorite TV show of mine, which also has a surprising connection to Star Wars in Being Human, the US version of the TV show. It stars Sam Witwer, Megan Rath, and Sam... What's his name? Hold on a second. Sam Huntington is his name. No, not Sam Huntington. Being Human, US. Who is it? Sam Witwer. Oh, it is Sam Huntington. Yeah, cool. So, it's a vampire, a werewolf, and a ghost that all move into the same house, and they have to try and coexist, and they're pretending to be human. There's 4 seasons of the American show. It's a little campy, it's a little weird, but, honestly...
So a little bit like What We Do in the Shadows.
No, not quite there. It's a little more in the realism. It's based on a UK series that they adapted for US audiences, and yeah, Sam Witwer's the main character. He plays a character called Aidan White, who's a vampire, and it's like, if you have a little bit of attraction to Sam Witwer, it may.
Oh, a little bit, dude. I have a severe attraction to that man.
I'm not gay.
Hey, I can find people attractive and still be straight.
I get it. I vibe with that. So,
Johnny, I have some news for you.
So doesn't everyone kiss their friends when they're drunk?
But me.
No.
I do have a story to tell you later, though, Naf. Actually, this reminds me.
Gosh. Also, half your face is off the camera right now. You need a center.
Oh, jeez.
There you go.
Sorry. Sorry, everyone. I was two-faced there.
Our appetizer is Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. Our main is New Moon with the paired wine of Being Human, the US TV series. And for dessert, we have none other than Tommy Wiseau's masterpiece, The Room, for being unintentionally funny, sold as drama, released as comedy.
I was thinking of adding that one too.
Change my wine. It just came to me. I would like to change my wine to the bootleg Broadway slime tutorial, Book of Mormon.
Yes, that's so good. I'm actually so excited to think about it. Mine's the South Park episode, The Book of Mormon, was inspired by.
No, like, you know when they go into like Broadway shows and they like film a slime tutorial, so it's just a bootleg of the Book of Mormon.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lord.
Dude, yeah. That yeah, so that's our cinema a la carte, guys. You can decide in the comments which one of these is your favorite. If you have your own, be sure to let us know as well in the comments. But Johnny, do you want to start by taking us out?
Yeah, thanks again to all our listeners for joining us today. Once again, I am Jonathan, also known as Marvelous Jonathan. You can find me on all those socials under that name. If you can't find Marvelous Jonathan, though, give Marvelous Johnny a try. I might have a few flipped around.
Sometimes it's got one. Like, I don't really know what's going on.
It is always two L's in Marvelous, though, because that's the correct way to spell it. Teach that to the Americans.
Yeah, Keegan's changed my dictionary on the one with the films like Google Drive to be American, so I keep typing things correctly, and it keeps going, you got too many letters in here, bro.
USA.
Sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and
Speaking of propaganda. Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, like I'm Naf. You can find me at Seen by Naf. You've got links in the description as well. Yeah, but thank you so much, Ellie, for joining us today. Thank you for bringing this film. Like, do you want to let the people know where they can find you and what they can expect to find if they do?
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok. I go by Spectre8, spelled the American way.
The wrong way.
No weird E's on the end. And I am on TikTok. I talk about the politics and religion of Star Wars. Shocker. And then I also make a lot of really like unhinged videos at 2 a.m. while I'm working on cosplays. And then I have my dog on there. Can I get the dog? I want to show the people the dog.
Get the dog. Well, she's grabbing the dog, Johnny. Yeah, you can go ahead and take us out.
Yeah, for sure. This is also just the final.
The dog is hiding under my couch. I'm not going to bother him.
As I was saying, this is the final reminder that you can find all the links to all our individual pages in the description below. And there's even a Google form that you can fill out if you have any specific creators or films that you would love to see on the podcast. You also find one with the films on Instagram, TikTok, and all your favorite podcasting platforms. But for now, as promised, feast your eyes on your next film on the weekly watch list.
All right. Great work, guys. See you later. Bye.
Wait, actually?
Hey guys, it's your favorite co-host here. I'm sorry that you had to deal without me for a bit, but nonetheless, Naf wanted me to introduce the guest, so I thought I would put on a tie, put on a blazer, really go all out for this one. Yes, Naf made me wear the tie, but nonetheless, I will say that it gives us great pleasure to welcome back one of my absolute favorite guests from last season, and I'm very excited that we get to have her again. Half of the Dark Side Divas collective, we have Steph coming back, bringing the film to Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. Very excited to do that next week. Now, the times may change a bit, so get a little bit of, you're going to want to pay attention to our socials about that. But nonetheless, guys, we're so excited to have her, and so excited to see you guys then. Peace.